What's up, producers? This is the second free training that I'm putting out. And in today's training, the thing that I'm going to talk about is the one thing you need to avoid if you want to make more money and work less hours. So we're going to go over 3 different points in this video. And the first thing I want to do is break a belief that you have. And so the first belief that I want to break is that a lot of people think in order to make a lot of money, you have to make it over a long period of time. You have to make it slowly, in other words. And so that's what I want to break down in this video, is that you don't want to make money slowly, you want to make money faster. And so I want to prove it with this point. So if you have $100,000, is that a lot of money? And so I'll give you a second to kind of answer this question. Is $100,000 a lot of money? And so the answer to this question is yes, it's a lot of money, but it also depends on how long it took you to make that. And so I want to illustrate it this way. If you go and make $100,000, but it took you 10 years. So you're sitting here, this is the first year, and then it takes you 10 years to get to 100K. Then it's not a lot of money because it took us too long to make it. Let's say it only took us 3 years instead of 10 years. So how much is that? That's $33,000 a year. So if we're making $33K a year, that's not a lot of money, but it's a lot more than making $10,000 a year for 10 years to make 100K. And so how do we accomplish this? So the first thing that we're going to do to accomplish this, we're going to budget our time. And so a lot of people don't do this. And so I'll put an hourglass figure here. A lot of people don't budget their time. And this is the main reason why we're stuck. We're making anywhere from $200 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month from our beats. And we can't get past there. We can't get to $3,000, $5,000 a month. And the reason for that is because we're not budgeting our time. And so some things that happen with budgeting time effectively is that we want to stop wasting time, 1, with TV, 2, with our phones. And then the third category is going to be parties, it's social life, that type of thing. So if we're going to a lot of social events, then that can be something of like a time waster, you could say. But if you enjoy doing that, you don't have to cut everything out. You just have to cut out one of these categories. And so something like TV, this can also be video games. And so the reason I say this is not because I don't do anything like this. I definitely do some things in these categories, but the problem is that we spend way too much time. We'll spend 4 hours watching TV. We'll spend 3 hours playing video games a day. And if you go and add up all of that and you look at where you're at in life, the number one reason you're where you are right now is because you can't budget your time effectively. And so that's the number one thing that you want to do. So make sure that you cut out one of these 3 things, and that's going to give you the time that you need in order to focus. And so a lot of people say they don't have time, but the problem is that they are only making time for the things that are most important to them. So once we're responsible over our time, we're budgeting it effectively. The second thing we want to worry about is leverage. And so what do I mean by leverage? So what I mean by this is that if we're working as hard as we can, if we're working for 8 hours a day, then what happens is if we have a lever, then we can look at it like this. And the problem with this is that we're working at a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're putting an hour in over here, and then we're getting a fixed result on this end. Let's say it's $50 for a beat lease. So if we want to leverage this into more money, what we need to do is figure out how we can get more money for that amount of time. So let's say we go and change the lever and make it longer. And then we put it off to one side. And so we don't want to stand on this side over here. We want to stand on this side over here. That's going to give us more leverage. So if we apply pressure to here, then what's going to happen is we can put in 30 minutes of time. And we can get $500 out. And so the reason why you're not making enough money is not because you're not working hard enough now. At this age, the reason you're not making more money is because you don't have enough leverage. And so you do this by making an offer. You don't just sell a regular beat for $50. You want to figure out a way to 10x the price and put in half the effort and make that much more money. And so if you're able to do this, then you can do it ethically, and you can do it in a way where the artist likes the way that you do business. And I can show a text where I received where an artist paid me $750, and then he sent me a text and said, "Hey man, I like the way that you do business." And so that's what we want. We want to do this in a way so that the artist appreciates how we approach business. And the way that we do this is with good communication skills. So if we have good communication skills, like we're jumping onto a phone call or a video call with the artist to sell to them, and we're figuring out what their wants or needs are by asking them questions, then we can offer something that's going to be a lot higher price tag, and that's going to allow us to get more leverage. Okay, so once you have maxed out these two categories, there's a third thing that's going to inhibit you from making more money. And so once we figure out how to make money, we're budgeting our time effectively, we're leveraging it into an offer, then the third thing that we want to worry about is the 80-20 rule. And so if you haven't heard of the 80-20 rule before, then essentially what this means is that 20% of the actions we take produce 80% of the results. What this means is that we can go and take the 20% of the actions that we take that are making the most results and then stop doing the other 80%. And so now we're only doing the 20% that makes the results, and then we just 5x that. And so now we fill up the other 80% of the time with the 20% of the activities, and then we will 5x our results. And so this is how you can go from making $1,000 to $5,000 a month. Figure out what's working and then double down on it. And then cut everything else out. If you are overweight by 100 pounds, let's say you're 100 pounds overweight, and you're eating a diet that consists of donuts, it consists of pizza, and it also consists of like bags of Lay's potato chips, right? So if we're eating all of this junk food here and we want to go on a diet, the first thing that a dietitian will do, they won't add anything. They won't add a bowl of salad to the diet. What they're going to do instead, what they're going to do is they're going to subtract. So they're going to subtract all of that before and get down to zero. And then now they can go back and add in things like salad. They can add in nutrition bars. They can add in vitamins, anything like that. So if you're trying to gain momentum in your business, then you don't want to add on anything else. What you want to do is you want to subtract the things that aren't working, that aren't bringing in any money, and then you want to add in all the things that are. And so I don't want to leave you hanging here. So the things that bring in money in a business are going to be offers. They're going to be leads. And it's going to be sales. And so whether you're selling over the phone or you're just pitching through DMs, you need this process in here. You need to find artists that you can reach out to, and then you need to pitch an offer to them that's going to give you leverage. And so if you do these three things, you can cut out things like content, because content doesn't immediately make you money. You can cut out things like branding, and you can cut out things like posting type beats, especially if you're not making any money from your type beat channel. So some people are making money, some people are getting great growth on YouTube. So if that's you, then double down on that and stop doing everything else. And so once you figure out that I can cut all of these things out and I can only do these three things, then that's when you start seeing 2x and 3x in your business. So hopefully this made you kind of step back, scratch your head, and think a little bit about it. And I definitely don't expect you to agree with everything I say, because if you agreed with everything I said and you were already doing everything I said to make more money and you weren't making any more money, then obviously I'm not breaking your beliefs and I'm not doing my job as a coach, as a music producer and mentor. So if you want to make more money and you don't have the result you have right now, then you believe something that's not true and you need to change that in order to see results. And so you do this by learning the principles of business. You do this by learning the principles of life. And so one principle of life is that you have to elevate your actions in order to elevate your bank account. And what I mean by this is that you need to stop thinking about making money and start thinking about what actions do I need to take in order to grow my business. And so you may feel like this isn't true, but let me explain. So in order to have the things that you want to have the result you want to have, and you have to do the things that get that result. And in order to do the things that get the result, you need to be that person first that does those things. And so you have to become before you can do, and then you have to do before you can have. So stop thinking about the end result of money and start thinking about what kind of person do I need to be in order to get up every day and send 50 direct messages to artists? What kind of person do I have to be in order to post content consistently for 3 years before I see a result? And so if you start asking those kind of questions, what you'll start to learn is that the tactics and strategies come last and the principles come first. And so if you engage in the principles, then the results will follow. So that's all that I want to say to you guys today. You have to be the person you need to be first in order to do the things that you need to do in order to have the results that you want to have. And so that's why I say you need to elevate your actions before you can elevate your bank account. And so hopefully this training was helpful. I know when I figured out these principles, this is what took me from $1,200 a month to $3,700 a month, and from $3,700 a month to $5,000 plus a month, my best month being over $11,000. So if this was helpful, reply with a raise hand emoji to this email if you're ready to start getting more results from your music production business. And in tomorrow's training, what I'm going to be training you guys on is 3 things that you can eliminate in order to accelerate the income in your business. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's training.